All right, welcome to Golf Talk Live. I'm your host, Ted Odorico. We have an elite lineup for you today that spans from the lesson tee to the Dominican Republic. Joining us on the Coach's Corner panel are PGA Master Professional John Hughes and Pete Buchanan of Plain Simple Golf to help you simplify your mechanics. Later, travel expert Robert Kaufman brings us a special guest, Alexis Santana, the Managing Director of Punta Espada Golf Club in Dominican Republic. And then finally, we talked to Jeff Enseek, the Managing Director with College Golf Experience, and how they are changing the game for young athletes. For those of you that want to know where to tune in, you can go to the iGolf Sports YouTube channel or on Spotify if you want to catch us on the video format. Or if you want to just catch us on the go, you can listen to it on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, or any of your favorite platforms. And don't forget to subscribe to the channels to stay up to date and informed. All right, if you're ready, let's get to work. All right, joining me, as I mentioned, on the Coach's Corner panel is, first up is John Hughes from John Hughes Golf. He is a PGA Master Professional of Instruction and the 2013 recipient of the PGA of America's Professional Development Award. And he is the owner of John Hughes Golf based in Orlando at the Omni Orlando Resort at Champions Gate. And with over 30 years of experience, John is a Golf Tips top 25 instructor and a recurring top 100 teacher, and is well renowned for his holistic approach to coaching, focusing on both the individual's physical capabilities and mental approach. And you can catch him at johnhughesgolf.com. Also on the panel tonight is Pete Buchanan from Plain Simple Golf. He is the founder of Plain Simple Golf and expert in the swim mechanics and biomechanics. And his philosophy focuses on simplifying the golf swing by eliminating unnecessary movements, helping golfers of all levels achieve a repeatable, plain, simple motion. And his website is petebuchanangolf.com. So, guys, welcome to tonight's Coach's Corner panel.
Ted, it's good to be here.
Hello.
I appreciate it. So we've got John from Orlando, and we've got Pete from St. Louis, and I'm here down in Florida as well, up in the Panhandle area. So we got kind of a three, not quite three different areas, two in one state and one in another state, but we're kind of in different areas, so it's makes it a little bit interesting. All right, so we're going to have a different Coach's Corner tonight. We're going to start off with some basic questions just to kind of get you warmed up here. And then we're going to move into a rapid fire on the second part of it. So this is going to be fun, something we haven't done yet on the Coach's Corner. I'm trying to make it a little more interesting this season. So we'll try to see how we get things started here. So tonight's topic is how to get out of some of the worst areas on the course. And of course, John, I'm going to start with you. And this is the hero shot trap, as it's called. I'll give you a little bit of the history, if you will, the background of what I'm talking about, and then I'll get you to give your response. So, John, when a player is stuck behind a tree or in maybe some thick brush, what's the specific mental trigger they should use to choose the smart lateral or over the miracle gap?
What's the shot that keeps par in play? It's literally that simple. What is the shot that keeps you in play and pars in play? Too many times I see people make an over-aggressive decision and then conservatively go about it because they don't know how to go about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather you make the conservative decision that you can play with commitment. Commitment means aggression, but not over-aggression, that keeps par in play. I can't say it any simpler. When I'm out on the course with people, they look at me like I'm growing warts off the side of my ears all the time. But it's like, hey, just put it out there. Just put it out there. Put it to a yardage that you know you can tackle to the green from there, and let's give yourself the best opportunity for par. You can't make birdies until you learn to make pars. If you're trying to be a hero and it gets knocked down in front of you, and you're staring bogey in the face, that's why the bigger numbers happen.
Yeah, and that's a smart play. You know, with 50 plus % of all golfers out there struggling to even break 100, you don't want to be doing the hero shot out there. I think that's a smart play. Is let's get back into play, set yourself up for the next shot, give you a chance, a good chance to go for the green with your third shot if you have to. So I think that's a smart play. Pete, sticking with some of the worst areas, this one, fairway bunkers. Pete, for a long fairway bunker shot, what is the one setup adjustment, ball position, or foot depth that ensures clean contact needed to clear that lip?
Well, that's the first thing you have to worry about is getting over the lip. You know, a lot of times you're going to have to select a club that may not get you to where you want to go. So you've got to take the club that's going to get you over the lip first. But I approach fairway bunkers a little bit different than most. You know, when you're walking into it, depending on as you get near where the ball is, depending on how much you go down. If you don't sink down very much, then I probably wouldn't grip down on the club very much at all. I like to play the ball just a little bit in the center so I can make sure I catch the ball first. And then I typically just take the same swing I always take. A lot of times it's talking about trying to make it steep, trying to make it more down, trying to hit more down to it to try to get to it. And I find that a lot of times they just drive it right into the lip when they try that. So I like them to be able to make a swing that they would make normally, but just move the ball back a bit so you're going to catch it first more than any of the sand. If you get in there and your feet go down an inch or so, then you're down an inch or so. You'll try to match what the ground level of your feet is doing to give you the right length on the club so you can still make the same type of swing. But, you know, again, it's all about, as John was briefly saying, you know, many times it's just getting it back in front of you down on the golf course so you can play the next one. You know, get yourself out of a trouble situation. Fairway bunkers can be, you know, you watch the tour guys do it. They practice it all the time. If you're not one that practices it very much, then you know, take a club that's going to get it out, get it down the fairway enough, and as John was saying before, keep par in play. Put yourself in a situation where you can make the next one. And again, you know, a lot of times you may not be able to get all the way to the green, but that's okay. You got to get over the lip in front of you. So take a club that will do that first, and then, you know, adjust yourself in the setup so you can contact the ball first.
Yeah, well said. And, you know, being that this is Masters Week, now is a good time to watch the pros because they're going to be faced with a lot of challenges out there at Augusta National. And you're going to see them not taking as many risks as you would typically see them play at other tournaments because the greens are fast. The bunkers, even though they're nice and white and sandy, they can cause some problems as well. And even the fairways can be a little quick at times too. So, I mean, you know, you've got to really be smart about it when you're out in the golf course. And the safe play is get it back in play and let's set yourself up for the next shot. You don't need to be taking a lot of risks. We're going to stick, John, with the bunker shot. This is the fried egg lie, if you will, or buried lie. So, John, when the ball is plugged in a greenside bunker, let's say, do you recommend a square or open face? And how much harder does the player need to strike the sand, do you think? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of factors involved, but typically, what do you advise?
The first thing I'm going to advise is, can you play it out? And it's okay to take the penalty stroke for an unplayable lie right there. And most people really need to think about it. Why would you be hacking 2, 3, 4 times out of a bunker because the first one was so buried that you're frustrated that didn't get out? I've literally stopped people in their tracks before I even do the other two things you mentioned. If you don't think you can get this out, take the unplayable, drop it in the bunker, hit the one shot. It might not keep par in play, but it's going to prevent the big number. From a super buried lie, let's figure out, are you on the flat? You on the downhill? Most of the time, you're not going to be downhill, but you could be going severely uphill. I'm not going to ask somebody to close the face because if they close it too much, it just digs in, takes all the momentum out of the shot. Square it up. Make sure that you have an open stance so you can come more vertical with it. And the very last thing you got to do is finish the swing. There is some science behind abruptly stopping your swing and letting that kind of lie just sort of pop itself out. But most average amateurs aren't skilled enough to understand where that stop happens. That stop happens in the sand, not before you hit the sand. And most people are trying to stop the club before you hit the sand. Sand's going to slow your club down as much as 75%. So if you're going to pop it, let the sand pop it. In most people's cases, get through and finish. Just get through and finish. And if it's out of the bunker, that's a great day. That's a great shot. Anything over and above that, that's icing on your cake.
Yeah, well said. And just a quick note, I want to make a correction. I meant to say squared. I actually had squared written in my notes. I don't know why I said closed. So good catch there. So, Pete, I want to come back to you on this one. And this one, we're going to talk about a severe downhill lie. Pete, when the ball is well below your feet or certainly on a steep downslope, how does the golfer adjust the swing plane to avoid the common thin or scald shots, or what other adjustments will they need to consider?
Well, if you're just on downhill, you have to set yourself parallel to the slope like you would, any right angles to the slope, I should say, like you would when you're standing on a level ground. You want to get yourself to be on the same angle the slope is. That way you can, make a swing that's going to be comparable to when you were standing on a level ground. You have to understand that it's going to go lower, so you're probably going to take more loft. You may not carry it all the way to where you're trying to get to. I would say when you're on the downhill, you should probably make the swing a little bit slower than you normally would, so you can make some contact. But I would say get yourself at right angles to the hill, maybe play the ball back a ball or two just to make sure you can get it. And then, when you're on the downhill, you want to make sure you finish. You got to get through the shot on the forward side. A lot of times they'll make the backswing, then they'll hang back and, just send it right into the hillside. So you want to make sure you swing it up the slope and then down the slope, chase after it and turn all the way through and finish on the forward side when you're on that downhill lot. And when it's below your feet, that's a tough one. You've got to get yourself probably a little bit more bent over in the posture, so a little bit more forward from the waist to get down to where the ball sits. That's going to create a swing. Typically, that's going to be a little bit more upright. The more upright swing you're going to make, the more open the face is probably going to get, the more right the ball is going to go. So you're going to have to adjust for that. You also want to make sure you don't go in there with too little loft. Make sure you have some loft that you can deal with to get the ball up in the air and get it to go somewhere. And again, the ball below your feet when you're taking a full swing, you just want to get it in play, get it down there somewhere where you can deal with it again. It's a tough one. It's got to have a more vertical swing. It's got to be more up and down so you can get down to where the ball sits. Again, that's going to tend for most people to make the face open up a bit. Unless you're somebody who hooks it, that may straighten yours out. You might want to stay there for a while because it will help fix your swing. But anytime you're on a ball below your feet, you just have to bend forward, get down to where the ball is, and make the swing a little bit up.
Well said. There's really, I think, the sort of common theme that I hear from both of you, and I think this is something that we've talked about many, many times, is you really have to do sort of a quick assessment of the situation, because there's really no sort of standard shot, if you will. I mean, it's very seldom you're ever going to find a standard shot when you're out in the golf course. And if you are, count your blessings, because it's about one in a million that you're going to get that. And so, I mean, you really have to assess the situation, and there's a lot of variables that could be factored in there as well. And I realize that. So, a lot of the advice that we give here in the Coach's Corner is sort of based off of a standard shot, if you will. But again, this is where coming to a coach like yourselves and myself, where you're going to be dial in on a little specifics when it becomes necessary. But great answers so far. All right, so John, this is one here that we don't really talk about a lot, and this one's sort of under the branches. So you've hit maybe an errant tee shot. You're in the woods a little bit, and your really only option is to hit below the canopy, as they say. You've got some low hanging branches, so you're looking to kind of hit that sort of a low punch, maybe a stinger under that canopy. What I'm looking for here is talk about, as far as adjustments with your hands and weight. Should we be moving them in one way or the other in order to accommodate that type of a shot? Give us the scoop.
Well, we don't talk about it a lot because there's a lot hidden behind trees we don't want to talk about, and particularly that kind of shot. Um, the when it, I always tell people, what's your standard setup and how are you going to alter off of that? And you can use that theory almost anywhere with any of these shots that you're talking about. With that one, we're trying to keep it lower. It's okay to use a lot more club with less loft. That's going to help you right away. If you're very uncomfortable moving ball position, whether it's weight distribution, the vision's off, or whatever, you can put the ball middle of your stance, use a 4-iron, use a hybrid, and make more of a very large putting stroke. And let's just hit it out there and get it back in play. You're looking for something that's going to advance. Now we have to talk about some other clubs. We do have to talk about some variables off your standard setup, such as a ball a little bit further back than normal in the middle, off middle rather, I should say. Yes, some weight forward, which is artificially going to press those hands and that handle forward because we're trying to de-loft the golf club. I think the biggest mistake most people do is they try to adjust their swing, not their setup. And when they're adjusting their swing, just like the bunker answer I gave previously, you're trying to slow that swing down, and that's not what you're trying to do. Can you set up to make a punch shot, a 9-3 shot is what I call it? And when you can have that 9-3 shot, ball just back of middle, weight forward, it's going to come out a lot lower. It's all a matter of where you're going to direct it as to how far it's going to go.
Yeah, well said. And again, there's a lot of variables, and we understand that here on the Coach's Corner panel. And I think that really what we want to do is just to give people a sort of a general guide, if you will, and talking about some of the things that we talk about here, just to give them a starting point. And then obviously, hopefully, we get a little further conversation at some point when they contact us. And I think that this is really a lot of golfers. I see people all the time talking online in different groups and things like that, and they're asking, it seems very simple questions like what we're talking about here tonight, but you'd be surprised at how many people haven't got a clue. Even been playing golf for years, they still don't know what to do, and they're struggling in that. So this is really the purpose of these panel discussions. It's just to give people an option to kind of have a starting point, and then if they want to develop a conversation, they can reach out to their local pro, or they can even reach out to us. We're happy to bring those questions and raise them again on future panel discussions. So this one, Pete, I want to throw at you, and this is sort of that deep greenside rough. We see that sometimes it even looks like a bunker. When the ball is sitting at the bottom of the cabbages, they say, how do you prevent that grass from closing the club face at impact? What do you need to do here?
Well, that's a tough one. You've got to get the club face more open to begin with, so that if there's any closing at all, you still have some loft to deal with. And I would always say, anytime you're down in something, you need more pitch, and you're going to have a club that has more loft on it. You're going to have to open it up more, and you're going to have a swing that's going to go more up and down to get down to where the ball sits. It's going to be kind of a messy impact because you're going to be trapping a lot of grass, and the ball's probably going to come out dead and run. But that's just the way it is. Get some loft in your hands. I don't think you necessarily have to play the ball too far back, but I do think you have to get the club to swing a little bit more up and down. You've got to get your hands and arms to get the club moving more abruptly up and down to get down to where the grass sits. But get some loft in your hand. Maybe set it a little open to begin with. So that you can try to slide through as much of the grass as you can and prevent the club from closing too much and leaving you a foot in front of you from where you just were. Again, start with some loft, open it up, and just try to advance it out of that deep stuff. And if you can get it on the green, what a bonus that is. But, you're just trying to get it out of that deep stuff and move yourself forward.
Yeah, and I, in my opinion, this is one of the toughest shots that you see, even on tour. You see a lot of these guys, especially when you get that sort of deep, gnarly, rough right near the green, and you don't have, especially if you don't have a lot of green to play with, or you've got maybe water on the backside, and you run the risk of not making contact and either leaving it in the grass, or you happen to catch it a little thin, and the next thing you know, it's skating across the green. So it's a tough shot for even the best of them, but again, with a proper setup and a proper understanding of how to execute the shot, you're going to increase your chances of being successful. John, this is the last one of the regular question. Then we're going to get into our rapid fire discussion. I call this one the divot from hell. And this is when your ball gets into kind of that sandy divot, if you will, in some cases in the middle of the fairway. What do we got to do here? What adjustments do we need to kind of get this one airborne? Because a lot of people missed the boat on this one as well. So you hit your ball, nice tee shot, and you find yourself in somebody else's divot that they didn't repair. What do you got to do to get yourself advanced forward here?
Number one, it's not your fault. I see so many people get so bent out of shape over hitting that good drive as you described, and then they're up there and they just can't get over the fact they're in a divot. And that is probably more than half the battle, because they cannot just let the emotions go and then start problem solving. And similar to what Pete just said, you need a little bit more verticality in your swing here, getting a little closer, because the ball's below your feet. If it's in a divot, it's below your feet. Let's get a little closer. Let's take one more golf club. There's no need to hood it or shut it down. Let's just get more vertical. And when I tell people, when your ball is in a perilous position, you're in trouble, automatic is ball middle of your stance. And in this case, that's going to create a more vertical swing no matter what club you have in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking one more club, because that divot's going to slow things down, and you're going to slow things down vertically. Your brain's going to sort of freak out a little and go, hey, you're going to hurt yourself. Let's take one more club so you don't have to swing so hard as well. With that combination, and again, this is all setup. It has nothing to do with your swing, but you've got to get over the emotional unluckiness first for you to problem solve it.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. And I mean, we've all been down that situation before. You hit a really good shot and only to find yourself in somebody's divot. And that, you're right. It's very easy to get upset about it, but you just sort of put that in the past, and you're on this shot now. Forget about the last shot, and let's focus on what we need to do for this shot here to move forward, and just do what you need to do to get it out. And don't make it into don't make it, as the old saying, don't make it a mountain out of a molehill. And that's the way you have to look at it. All right, coaches, this is round 2, if you will, the rapid fire round. I'm going to give you a pressure cooker scenario, and I want you to give me, this is the deal here, a 1-sentence fix to save the hole. And unfortunately, Pete, you're up first. So, and if you have to go a little bit over, I'll give you some grace because it's the first time we do it. So, nervous opening tee shot, Pete. It's the first hole. There's a crowd watching, and the nerves are definitely up. What's the swing thought?
Deep breath. Make it smooth.
Okay. I like that. Good one. All right, John, tight lie chip. John, you're off the green on hard pan, no grass, putter or wedge?
What was the last thing? Putter or wedge?
Or wedge, yes. Tight lie, a chip, you're off the green, hard pan, no grass, putter or wedge?
Go with your gut based on what you know you and your skills can do.
Okay, I like that. Good answer. Pete, back to you. A 3-foot must make for that par save on 18. Where should the eyes be when the ball drops? Where should we be looking when that ball drops on a 3-foot must make putt? No sneak peek.
No to LTSM. Look too soon to see the miss.
Right.
I'm with the drug company right now trying to figure that one out.
Yeah. Right. Good one. All right, John, back to you. That high lip bunker, the sand is soft and the wall is 5 feet high. We're probably playing over in Scotland. Where do you strike the sand?
Based on the bounce of your club, anywhere between a 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches, and make sure you swing through.
Okay, I like that. That's a good one as well. A windy tee ball. So the wind is howling in your face. Do you swing harder or tee it lower? Or both?
Lower, swing it shorter.
Okay. A little more abbreviated swing, but
yes.
Tee the ball lower. Okay. I like that. This one I call a toe hang putt. So, John, you're standing over a 20-footer that breaks hard left to right. Where is your target, the hole or a spot on the green?
Spot on the green.
Okay. I like that one as well. And, Pete, last one for you. After work swing. Pete, you haven't hit a ball in a week and you're headed straight to the first tee. What's the one stretch to find your plane? Yes.
3-2 stretch. I would just take continuous motion swings for about a minute, just to make movement. So take it forward, take it back, take it forward, take it back. Just make swings to move.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I wanted to do this. I was debating on whether I was going to do this because I knew it was going to be a little. That's why I wasn't actually going to say anything until we actually got to it. But I thought I'm going to give you a little bit of a heads up so you'll know what's coming. Because it's not easy. I mean, I know we all know our stuff, but at the same time, when somebody throws something out like that, and you're kind of on the spot, and you're trying to, give what you feel is the best answer, it can be a little bit challenging. So I hope people that watch this will appreciate it. It's not always easy sometimes, just to because again, with so many variables and things like that, a potential, issues that could arise. Sometimes there could be even more than one answer. But you guys, as always, did a great job. I want to take a few more minutes here before we get ready to wrap up. We're going to wrap up a few minutes early tonight, if that's okay on this discussion. But I'm going to go to you, John, and then back to Pete. What has been, as you look back over your time as an instructor, slash coach, what has been some of the biggest challenges that you have personally found, not with your own abilities or things like that, but with working with students? Is it a lack of commitment on their part at times? Is it an unwillingness to, for them to try, things that you've recommended? What is, in your mind, what has been some of the biggest hurdles and challenges that you've been faced with as a golf instructor?
I'm going to take a note out of Coach Holt's, rest his soul. He was very influential in me at 9 years old. Before I was ever a golfer, I knew him at North Carolina State, and one of his resounding themes, goals, things he lived by was, let's not criticize the performer, let's criticize the performance. And going on that and trying to answer the question as simply as I can. Simple is the word. I see too many people trying to overcomplicate this game.
Yeah.
And when we as coaches are trying to help them simplify it, they will look us in the eye and say, it can't be that simple. It can be if you allow it to be. When you're making it complicated and you're not understanding Newtonian physics, for every action there's an equal and opposite, and all you're ever doing is reacting off of the opposite, you're making things complicated.
Yeah. I think sometimes keeping things simple, the old KISS analogy, keep it simple, stupid, I think is the best thing going. And it applies not just to golf, but it applies to so many other things. I think people make this game a lot harder than it needs to be. It's already hard enough. We all get that. We realize it can be challenging. There's a lot of variables that can then pop up, as we've talked about many times. But I think a lot of people make it more difficult than need be. I think just keeping it simple sometimes is the best recipe, if you will. Pete, what about you? What has given you some of the, as John put it, given you a cause to, knock a few backs sometimes after work, besides just being tired?
No, for me, it's twofold. I think number one is in my own instruction, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to make this club swing, and then there's a lot of influence out there, and trying not to let too much of that sneak into what I already know, and not letting that move me off of what I know will really help the people to get better at what they're doing. There's a lot of influence. I work with a lot of tour guys that want to, change what I'm trying to do because they heard X, X, and X do it. I'm saying, listen, I understand that. But it's always simplifying the answer back to them to get them back into understanding where we're trying to go. And I think from a student perspective, I think the biggest thing is really the challenge is to get them to understand exactly what we're trying to get them to, and get them over the, I guess you would call it the anxiety or the fear of making a change. Sometimes these changes take time. You have to have courage to make the changes. And you have to have patience to allow the time for those changes to take effect. And I guess first and foremost, you have to be willing to make the changes. But I think in that regard, it's really getting, really down to earth with each person that you're working with and telling them, look, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. I want to make sure you understand where we're going and the time and effort it's going to take to get us to where we're going to go. And I think if you can be upfront with them, I think they'll have a little bit better understanding of making those changes, and they'll be more willing to take the time to let them get into it.
Yeah, well said, both of you. I think one of the challenges that I have found over the years is the unwillingness to step out of the box a little bit. And what I mean by that is a lot of people get set in their ways, especially golfers that have been playing for a little while. They have a routine that they do, and they're very shy when it comes to making changes, even if it's for their own betterment. Now, some will try it, but if it doesn't get instant results, then they're right back at it. And I think it makes it very challenging as a coach to work with somebody that's unwilling to you sometimes take a little bit of a risk, and you know they get into their comfort zone, if you will. And I understand that. I get that we're all sort of creatures of comfort at times. You know, we have our favorite maybe shows, or we have a favorite cocktail that we might like, and sometimes we're a little bit afraid to experiment. And I think it's, you know, I think you have to be, as you put it, Pete, and John, you've put it as well. I think you have to be willing to be receptive to change when it's necessary. But more importantly, you have to put it into practice. You can't just say, well, okay, yeah, I'd like to do that, try it once, and then give up. There's a reason why you have to work through the process. And sometimes change takes a little bit longer, especially if it's a monumental change. And not everybody's going to have that, but there are some out there. And when they just keep falling back to the same old patterns, then it gets the redundancy just mounts up, and they don't see results, and then they become frustrated. And that, I think, is one of the biggest challenges, I think, as golf professionals and golf coaches that we've had for many, many decades. And it goes to my point I made earlier, is I think this is one of the reasons why handicaps, because, I mean, we've got great technology out there now. We've got some great coaching folks and techniques and things like that. But gosh, you know, it takes two. You can't just expect the coach to work miracles if you're not willing to bring your best efforts to the lesson tee as well. So it's one of those things that I think it's like I hate to use this analogy, but it's like a marriage. You know, it's like bring a couple together. You each bring your strengths and whatnot to the situation, but you also have to be willing to compromise and make adjustments and adapt. And when you've got one sort of bringing everything to the table and the other one's not, then you find yourself in a situation where it's not going to work. But very quickly, guys, if John, I'll go back to you. If you want to let the folks know the best way they can reach you, if they want to do so, where can they get a hold of you, and if they want to start that conversation?
Well, first and foremost, Ted, thanks for the opportunity. It's a monthly ritual for me the past few years, and it's always an opportunity to share. It's always an opportunity to make Pete laugh and smile too, which I enjoy. Thank you, Pete, for being there. Ted, you talked about this instant golf improvement. We were just talking about it. Everybody's looking for that instant. And this was written out of frustration because you're looking for so much instant, yet you're not doing the things that you were saying and that Pete was saying and I was saying. So instantgolfimprovement.com. If you buy a book there, I will sign it. I will send it to you. I've got one going out tonight. You can reach me at John at John Hughes Golf. There you go. Ted's got it. John at johnhughesgolf.com. There will be a big announcement next week that I'm not allowed to say, that I'm awfully proud of, and I'm still trying to wrap my arms around. But the other thing I want to talk about is visiting Omni Homestead up in Hot Springs, Virginia, America's oldest resort. I'll be up there May 25th through June 15th, and do have some spots available for you to come see me up there.
Okay, well, reach out to John, and he'll definitely hook you up and get you on the right track. Pete, what about you? Best way people can reach out? If there's anything quickly that you want to plug as well, by all means, go ahead.
Yeah, they can reach me at PeteBuchananGolf.com. I just recently transitioned to a new indoor sports facility. So we've got 2 indoor track plans that we're going to be using. We'll be doing a whole lot of new programs. So, you know, hit the website. You'll be able to see what we're starting to put together, different ways to train. And not only from the conventional game, but I have one of my long drive guys that's right here in town. And so we're going to be doing some speed training as well, and utilizing his skills and show some golfers how to hit some bombs. So come and join us.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
That's Pete BuchananGolf.com is his website, by the way. All right, guys, thanks for a great Coach's Corner. Quick and clinical, exactly how you want your recovery game to be. Coaches, thanks for keeping us out of trouble. Coming up next, we're leaving the grind behind for the ultimate luxury. Alexis Santana joins us to showcase why Punta Espada is the crown jewel of the Dominican Republic. Stay tuned to Golf Talk Live.